the boy's the undertow. So what? I don't wanna be the nominee. Release me. Burst with the moon, the boy's a blonde balloon. So what? Won't you come and free the nominee? Release me. Can you hear your heart in me? Is it sitting still, humming fire drills? Mistletoe. So what? I was meant to be the nominee. Release me. Release me. Release me. But before you free the nominee, dance with me, you nominee. They come to see the nominee. Release me. Release me. I don't think I'm in the right place. The night isn't mine. They're making a name for themselves on borrowed time. I can still taste the smoke in her hair, coffee on my breath. I wanted to see for myself kids cheating death, but now I want to go home. These aren't our friends. We don't belong here. Come with me. 'Cause I wanna be ignored. I wanna be ignored. You think there's plenty of time, but I know we're cutting it close. You think we're fine. that you would. I'm not meant to stand in your way, so I'd always fall when I could. Take me home. All my words only made it worse. Come with me. Come with me. 'Cause I wanna be ignored. I make plans with crooked lines. The night feels wrong when it turns out fine, yeah. And I'll make time to be a mess. If I taste the sound of your old address, it's my fault. There's nothing you can do. I'd do anything for you. There's nothing you can do. Show me only. Well, at least now you know. Well, at least now you know why I disappear forever sometimes. And I'll make plans before we freeze, pass to the good life to move us, please, yeah. And I'll make time before we bloom to tell you the truth in your brother's room. It's my fault. There's nothing you can do. I'd do anything for you. There's nothing you can do. Show me only. Well, at least now you know. Well, at least now you know why I disappear forever sometimes. Hold me solely. Well, at least now you know. Well, at least now you know why I disappear. How do you leave when you've never left? The pull is nothing new. Do you leave when there's nothing left? Is there nothing
Hey, thanks for pressing play on the video. Now that we got you here, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We are the SoCal Sound here in Southern California. We are an independent public radio station, so your support really counts. Thank you for subscribing. So now on to the show. My name is Byron Gonzalez, and I am the host of Late Night Snacks, which you can catch here on the station every Saturday and Sunday, midnight to 3 a.m. And you're now here watching another The SoCal Sound in Studio Sessions. And today, I'm very honored and privileged to be hosting Dear Boy. And we got Dear Boy here in studio. We got Ben Gray and Austin. Yes. I forget your last name.
Hayman.
Huh?
Hayman, Hay.
All right, there you go, Hayman. How are you two? Thanks for coming
man.
all the way to the valley.
Oh, good, man. I'm from the valley, so it feels good to be tethered to my roots.
Oh, yeah, you feel it? You
I
feel
do,
the heat?
yeah. You can see me shaking.
Well, thank you for performing a couple songs off your brand new album. We got Forever Sometimes. It is their debut album, which sounds crazy because you guys have a bunch of songs already. I'm like... But I was reading an article saying that you've been an independent band. So it's kind of been tough making an album, right?
Tough is, I mean, it wasn't so much tough, it's just that, like, the nature of our business and the way we did things is, like, we would write some songs, record them, release them, and tour. So we were constantly, like, in a cycle of movement. So we never had a moment, because as an independent band, too, like, the infrastructure is only the four of us. So, like, there was no time to, like, really put the energy and the work into something that we could be proud of.
Interesting. Now thanks to Last Gang, you're able to kind of put that energy. Yeah. And the pandemic kind of helped, right? Because you didn't have to go out. You can just concentrate on the music.
Helped is kind of a rose-colored way of putting it.
Yeah.
It honestly, I don't think we could have made this record this way. You know, like we started in February 2020, and then we worked pretty much 6 days a week, 10 hours a day until December, really losing ourselves in it.
That's cool. And you guys kind of got help from me because I used to work at Pete's Coffee, and you'd come all the time.
Yeah.
So I was fueling the recordings in an offhand way.
It was you.
It was you, and you're in the Grammy speech. So.
Awesome. That was my goal.
Yes.
I was trying to put that in there every time. Speaking of coffee, what is your favorite coffee? What's your favorite drink?
I've been waiting my whole life for this question. How do I answer this without sounding like the worst? I would say, if I were to have my druthers, I would have like a French press coffee is like my favorite, and sitting with like a pastry.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's how I like to do it.
I mean, that's the best way, honestly.
But who has the time?
I'm just black.
Just black, like your soul.
Black, dripped. There you go.
Yeah, just
straight to the point.
If you could, you put in an IV.
We don't need to fight about
this
theory.
Right.
So yeah, congratulations on this album. It sounds amazing. I love all the transitions that you guys do in between songs, like Your Brother's Room into Forever Sometimes, or the first song, Even Song, into On My Mind.
Thanks, man.
Was this something that you always envisioned in an album? Like when you were recording this, or maybe even before you were recording this, you're like, I want to do some really cool transitions.
Well, I personally, like, I'm an album listener.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a single person. Like, I listen to a whole album. So when things are like, when there's a concept and the flow of a record is super important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having those moments, it's just, I don't know, it's a...
Yeah, I mean, you're curating an experience, you know, and it's like, I think this album, too, is sort of a reaction to single-based music, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's how we like to listen and how we like to do things. And live, we do the same thing. Like, depending on how we're playing, we'll tailor sort of an experience where it's like...
Yeah, I guess we did that because that's the way that we perform.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, like, it's all dynamic, you know? So it's like, when you're listening to, the one thing I'll say about making the record during the pandemic is like we were mixing while we were tracking, which is like we would send songs to Tony Hoffer who mixed it, and they would send it back, which drove us insane. But the only thing that was good about it is we got to kind of see along the way like what the album was missing, and we kind of got to sort of build it that way. So as the album was starting to come to life, we were like, oh, what we thought we were making is not actually what we're going to make. So then, like, Your Brother's Room and then Even Song was like the last thing we wrote for the record.
Oh, really?
We knew that it was missing kind of like a mission statement. So, like, that kind of, you know, the record tells you what it is. So, and we love we love Roxy music and we love bands that do that.
Yeah, you still kind of have like this 80s, 90s aesthetic sound, sonically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably what you grew up listening to. What kind of influences do you feel that, besides Roxy music that you just mentioned, what influence think came through in the recordings of this?
Tell them.
The Stone Roses,
Stone Roses.
Yeah.
Cure, Oasis.
Now, were these things that you were listening to? Do you guys listen to a lot of other people's music as you're like trying to create an album?
I don't want to answer for us all, but I feel like when we're making a record, I don't listen to a lot of other stuff while we're doing it, just because I think a lot of people probably say this, but like you're in it so much that you don't want to do anything like with a concerted choice to sound like somebody.
Right.
I think like we all have sort of a shared like pool of things that we all love, and they're in our DNA now. So we articulate them in a way that is like personal to us, and then that's how we kind of put it all together.
Oh, interesting. And then is that kind of the same way how you like thought of the order of the songs as well? How much tinkering had to go into that?
The order. I mean,
Yeah, that's kind of, it's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle, right?
it's like seating in a wedding or something. It's just like you can't get it right. But it's like it tells you as you're making it. I think we had a luxury of spending 10 months on a record, so like there is no other way to do it because we sort of guaranteed there was no other way to do it, you know, as we were making it. But we talk about that stuff all the time. We're building our set now for the fall, and we're already deep into arguments about it.
I'm sure. Yeah, you have a great show coming up at the El Rey, October 28th. If y'all want tickets, there's a link down below. But that must be really cool, especially because you sold out 2 shows at the Troubadour. I was at one of them.
Oh.
And now you're coming to the El Rey, which is a slightly bigger venue.
Yeah.
How do you feel making that transition?
It feels right. I think like growing up in the Valley, just want to say that again, for the record.
For the record.
No, but I've been going to see shows at the El Rey since I was a kid, and it was always this legendary space. And we've played the El Rey before as a support. You know, we played with Pete Yorn there, and we played with Daywave there, and
But headlining is like a
that's
whole
the
different
thing. Like it's
monster.
we get to kind of, and I don't think we've had for our first record. It's been so long coming that it feels very special, and it's just something that I think we've all been wanting to do since we started this band.
And were you going to say something?
It allows us to be indulgent, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have 19 hours planned. We have a PowerPoint. I'm gonna do 20 minutes of impressions.
Yeah.
Very excited.
That's why I come, because your impressions are like spot on.
Oh, thanks, man. Say it louder so people hear it.
That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about I always like getting into album covers.
Yeah.
Explain it. Explain it to me. Who is
Explain
this?
it and do it fast.
Why did you choose?
We made like a little bit of a we were sending, you asked me for my inspo, and it happened to be like there was the Gene record.
Oh, right.
That was like that we both had on it.
Yeah. Well, because so what we were talking about is, this is the way we normally do stuff, okay? So it's become a sort of tradition now for our album covers or EP covers, single covers, whatever, to be kind of like these like repurposed photos that we find in like curiosity shops and whatever. And then for this, like there were a lot of themes coming up while we were making the album of like a hereafter and the night sky, and there's a lot of like blues and stuff, and we were talking back and forth about the inspirations, about because it, you know, as you're making something, it starts to reveal itself to you, you know.
Right.
So like we were talking about inspirations, and the Gene record was a very big inspiration, and then we found this actually our designer found this. It was a slide. It was like a little, like a 1 inch or 1.5 inch slide from the 60s of this anonymous person. And he turned it into this thing, and then it informed kind of how the singles would look. And the single covers are all my great aunt and my grandmother. They were like, they just were like this active nightlife
really cool.
in like in the 40s and 50s, and so like it all just started to feel like a coherent vibe and look. And there's something just about the image though, like it commands itself to be the artwork. You know, you don't really question it when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the composition, you just kind of, your eyes go all over the place.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Thanks, man.
So as listening to your music for a while, and this album too, it's very romantic in the lyrics, especially, you know, marrying for love. Did you ever, you know, if your younger self heard this album, would he be surprised in what came out?
It's a great question. You know,
Or would he
That's
be
a
like,
great
what
question.
the heck are you doing?
that's a really great question. I think he would be baffled that a girl would ever like him. Like, I was convinced that I would be alone forever. Now, I mean, he'd probably be psyched that I'm playing music, you know, and that I was able to do anything that people would care about. Because I feel like Austin and I and Keith and Lucy, like, we all got into music for similar reasons, which is that sort of, it's kind of a sacred exchange of, or sacred connection and like exchange of energy. And like, when I got into going to shows and listening to music, it was really pure, and like, I never thought about it as a career, and I know we all feel the same way. That was never the draw or the appeal. So the idea that we would be here and, you know, this deep into the band and having it still feel pure like that, I think my young punk self would be psyched on that. Yeah. He'd be bummed that I sold out and signed to a record label. But aside from that, I think we're good.
But then you got to tell him, like, you know, everything costs so much in the future. Inflation. It's different.
Listen, if we're going to get into like this,
Economy.
the logistics of me talking to my younger self, like, I'm going to need a light out.
I know. It's like, did you know that the pandemic happened? All this
It's
stuff.
like, I'm still getting my head around that that's you as me.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, and it sounds like it is a great album. But, you know, I'm sure you've listened to it back and forth a million times. And then under the veil of the pandemic, when you listen to it again, what song brings like a really nice memory to you?
I know what you're going to say.
Do you?
Yeah, I think I do, dude. Yeah, I think I do.
Damn. I
know what it is for me.
For me, I think I did love. I liked making Say When.
Yeah, I knew it. Could have said anything.
I don't. It just kind of it did its job for itself. I don't know. It's yeah, like sometimes like a song like we spent like Overjoy was a puzzle.
Yeah.
And that turned into something that I really love. But you think about songs that you don't have to look for the parts or anything. You're just like, well, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one came out more natural, more organic.
But
it's just kind of.
But what's fascinating about it is that, like, and it is fascinating, but there's a theme of time on the album too, obviously, like a lot of like what that means and like what goodbye means. And for us, it's like sometimes we don't say goodbye to like our own songs. So like, Say When, we started writing a version of that maybe like 3 weeks into being a band. Like it sounded completely different.
So
it was like a very slow, like it was like a very just drudge thing that we wrote on Austin's iPad like 3 weeks into the band. And then we kind of forgot it. And as we were making the record, we were at Keith's studio and we're just like, let's like take a look at that again. And we listened to it and we were just so like, okay, well, that's not right. But then we were able to take something that we had created when we were like just finding out what Dear Boy was and reassess it in the context of like this album, which was a really exciting thing for us to take. Like, why did we write that when we were like starting, and like what does that mean now, and how do we make it fit with this record, because we knew there was something cool in there, and it was just a really joyous experience. His answer is my answer. Like, I feel the same about that song, because as it was coming together, I was just like, it hit that frequency, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it did make me feel like a kid while we were making it. It was just kind of this like, anything is possible in this room.
Yeah, like some songs, as you're making them, they're already mixed.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, that's it. It's done.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. How explain that? How is it
Well,
like it
I
feels
guess,
like it's
like-
already mixed? Like there's not a lot of tinkering that needs to go into it once.
Yeah, like every, I guess like you have these, and not in like a technical way, but in like you have all this space that was in the song, right? And when all the parts just kind of sit in their own space, then it inherently just sounds like cool, like it's
Okay.
covering the ground. And then when like you have other songs where things are sort of stepping on top of each other, and it's gonna be okay, but it's gonna need like
Yeah.
twisting, you
Yeah,
know what I mean, to make it all
There's a lot of
fit.
that.
And this was a song I think where just like, each little corner was like checked, and then you listen back, you're like, sounds fucking great. I can't say that.
No, you could say
Oh, I
that.
can't say
We're on the
that.
internet. We're on
Let's
the fucking
change
internet.
everything. There's also a moment in Wet Clothes where there's a bridge section where like the guitars are, Austin is playing his guitar the way he plays, and I'm playing the way that I play, and we're panned, and when you listen to it, it just sounds like such pure kid energy. Like, it sounds like, it just reminds me of like two people who are into music just playing, you know, with the ferocity of a 12-year-old boy, and it just feel like it's just a pure moment in there.
That's beautiful. Well, now people will listen to this album in a whole new light after what you just said. Now you gotta listen carefully, right?
Yes, you
Yeah,
do.
listen
You
more
really
carefully. Get some theory videos out there, whatnot.
I would love to see those.
Analysis, yeah.
Well, it was great chatting with you too. I mean, we chat a lot, but this is a different context.
Yeah.
And it was great to really dive deep into because, you know, usually we talk about business or politics or stocks.
Well, yeah, as you were saying it to me, I'm like, do we?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
But it was great talking to you about your new debut album. Remind me, so you guys are playing the El Rey Theater October 28th, but then you're also going to New York.
Yeah, to do Elsewhere in Brooklyn on November 3rd. And then there's some other stuff too, but we can't say that yet.
Can't say it's still on the wraps, but there's a lot of big things coming.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Well, congratulations on your new album still.
Thanks, Byron. I
you.
appreciate it, man.
That was Dear Boy here on the SoCal Sound. Their new album, Forever Sometimes, is available now. You can check it out on our link in bio. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again for watching.